welcome back to another Daily Lore React. This channel is meant for mobile. You could maybe watch, I'm not sure if you could watch on computer, but it's probably better on mobile because the way I have it, I don't flip it sideways or anything like that. It's straight, like, for mobile. So yeah, but welcome back. The next one we're gonna watch is this one, and yep, let's go.
My best friend died and left me as a guardian for his son, but his parents are fighting for custody, claiming I'm unfit because I'm single. Today they offered me $250,000 to walk away and let them raise him instead. Now I'm torn between respecting his wishes and what might be best for his child. 6 months ago, my world was shattered when my best friend, Eric,
That's a difficult question. I mean, we're talking about your best friend, so it's a difficult question, honestly. Sorry. But are you fit to be a parent, though? That's also a good question as well.
died in a car accident at the age of 32. We had been inseparable since college, and his death left a gaping hole in my life that I'm still struggling to fill. But amidst my grief, I was faced with a responsibility I never expected. Eric had named me, not his parents, as the legal guardian of his 7-year-old son, Liam. Eric had been a single father ever since his ex-wife abandoned them.
Okay, that tells me there's a reason. There's a reason why he left you and not his parents as legal guardian. So, okay, keep that in mind.
When Liam was just 2. He had raised his son with dedication and love, working from home as a software developer to be present for every moment of Liam's childhood. I, 34M, had been a constant in Liam's life too, the fun uncle who came over for dinners, helped with homework, and took him camping when Eric needed a break. It made sense that Eric would trust me with his son, but the reality of becoming an instant parent to a grieving child was overwhelming. Still, I never hesitated. Liam moved into my modest 2-bedroom apartment within a week of the funeral. I rearranged my life, shifting my work schedule as a graphic designer to accommodate school drop-offs and pickups. I learned to cook more than just pasta, figured out how to help with second-grade math, and held Liam through countless nights of tears as he processed the loss.
I wonder what second-grade math is. Like, my God. Because curriculum gets, I guess it gets harder and harder, obviously. It's been so long since I've been in second grade, so I don't remember. I have a bad memory anyway, so. But I wonder what second grade math is like, actually. I could probably search it up, but I found out if I leave this app with this recording, it would just end the video. Because in my last video, I had to stitch the ending. I had to stitch the ending to the video. So,
his father. It wasn't easy, but we were managing to build a new normal together. Then Eric's parents entered the picture. Robert and Margaret had always had a strained relationship with their son. They disapproved of his lifestyle, his career choice, and especially his parenting decisions. They lived across the country and had only seen Liam a handful of times in his life. Eric had often confided in me about their controlling behavior and how he had intentionally kept them at arm's length to protect Liam from their critical and often old-fashioned views. 2 months after Eric's death, I received a
okay, that makes more sense. That makes sense why, okay, that makes more sense why he left them in charge of parenting. Okay, keep that in mind as well. Because obviously, I think they're going to ask a question. If something and something else, I'm not sure.
letter. Robert and Margaret were contesting the guardianship, claiming I was an unfit guardian due to my single status, my unstable freelance career.
See, you don't. Yeah. What? That's just single status. Okay.
And my lack of family values. They painted me as a temporary fixture in Liam's life rather than the consistent presence I had been for years. They argued that Liam needed real family and a stable, traditional household, something they claimed only they could provide. The allegations were hurtful and baseless, but they hit a nerve. Was I enough for Liam? Could I really provide everything a growing boy needs? I had no
Yes, you can. You're completely fine.
parenting experience beyond being Eric's.
Nobody has parenting experience. Nobody does. I mean, even if you go to parenting classes and stuff like that, you still don't have parenting experience until you're a parent. You might have some knowledge of parenting, but you don't have any experience until you are actually a parent.
Up. I lived in a modest apartment, not the spacious suburban home Robert and Margaret were offering. I worked freelance, which gave me flexibility but not the financial stability of Robert's retirement pension. For the first time, I began to doubt whether Eric had made the right choice.
No, he did. He definitely did. He didn't want his son to grow up in a controlling environment that's not free. That's exactly why he chose you as his uh, backup as a guardian. So his kid doesn't grow up in the same environment he grew up in. He knew you would actually raise his kid correctly or incorrectly, whatever it is.
The court appointed a guardian ad litem to evaluate what would be in Liam's best interests. She interviewed all of us, observed Liam in both environments, and reviewed our financial situations. Throughout this process,
Of course, the rich people, the financial situation, of course, the rich people are going to look better on paper. They're rich. I mean, that's obvious.
Liam made it clear he wanted to stay with me. He barely knew his grandparents and felt uncomfortable around them. The court date was set for next month, and based on preliminary discussions, things were leaning in my favor.
Yeah, but usually, I wouldn't say always, but for some reason, it should be up to the kid, but for some reason, sometimes, mm, I guess, I guess the kid, I don't understand this. They use like terminology like we know what's best for the kid, even though the kid outright saying they want the opposite, but you still go along with we know what is best for the kid, whatever. I don't understand why they say that. I really don't. I mean, unless unless you know the kid is lying, which is a different story. Otherwise, you should always listen to a kid, unless they're like, I don't know, 5, I guess. Unless they can't really talk, is the question.
Yesterday, everything changed. Robert and Margaret requested a meeting at a local coffee shop. I agreed, hoping we might find some middle ground for Liam's sake. Instead, they came with a proposition that left me speechless. They slid an envelope.
So they bribed you. Typical rich people. Bribing to get what they want. uh,
Across the table containing a draft contract and a cashier's check for $250,000. We're prepared to make this worth your while, Robert said coldly. Walk away now, sign over guardianship to us, and the money is yours. No court battle, no dragged out custody fight. You can go back to your life, and Liam will have every advantage we can give him. I stared at the check in disbelief. It was more money than I'd ever seen at once, enough to clear my student loans, put a down payment on a house, maybe.
why are you thinking about this though? I mean, yeah, actually, no, it makes sense. He hasn't seen that money ever in his life, so yeah, that makes sense. I understand that actually. Never mind. Disregard what I said. That is a lot of money. Normal people will not see that amount of money in their lifetime. I say normal people, obviously. I'm not talking about shady people. I'm talking about normal people.
Even start the design studio I'd always dreamed of. For a brief, shameful moment, I considered what it would mean for my future. Margaret leaned in, her voice softer but no less manipulative. Think about Liam, she urged. With us, he can go to private school. We can afford the best therapist to help him process his grief. We can give him opportunities you simply can't match. Isn't that what Eric would have wanted for his son? I left the meeting with the envelope.
No, no, Eric would not want that at all. It's like he said, like they said, it's a manipulation tactic to get what they want.
Promising to consider their offer, but feeling sick to my stomach. The truth was, Eric had been explicit about his wishes. He had updated his will just a year before his death, after a particularly tense holiday visit from his parents. If anything happens to me, he had told me, don't let them raise Liam. They'll try to erase everything about me. He doesn't fit their perfect image. Now I'm torn between respecting my best friend's dying wishes and wondering if I'm standing in the way of what could be a materially better.
He told you specifically, do not disrespect him. I mean, he legitimately told you what he wanted. I mean, I understand he didn't. Obviously, it is about the kid in general, but which one, not give more opportunity, but which one sounds more appealing? Growing up in a rich household, going to private school, being strictly told what to do, what to eat, what to think, and where to play, what to play, where to go to school, what school to go to, what field you go in, or grow up in a freedom house, basically a normal house, do whatever you normally would do, be not rich, basically be poor, and grow up like that. So which one sounds better? I know which one I'll pick, obviously.
Life for Liam. Robert and Margaret are wealthy, they could provide opportunities I can only dream of offering. They could send him to the best schools, pay for college without breaking a sweat, give him the financial security that my freelance career might never match.
Yeah, but at what cost? There's always a cost for everything.
But money isn't everything, and I know how Eric felt about his parents' values and worldview. I know he worried about their controlling nature, their rigid expectations, their tendency to withdraw love when disappointed. I've seen Liam flourish in my care despite our modest circumstances. He's joined a local soccer team, made friends in the building, and recently started laughing again, a sound I feared I might never hear after Eric's death. Last night, after putting Liam to bed, I sat at my kitchen table with the envelope before me. The check represented freedom and opportunity, for me, but at what cost to Liam? Would accepting it be the ultimate betrayal of my best friend, or would turning it down be selfish if the grandparents could provide more?
Wait, hold up, what he said?
I sat at my kitchen table with the envelope before me. The check represented freedom and opportunity, for me, but at what cost to Liam? Would accepting it be the ultimate betrayal of my best friend, or would turning it down be selfish if the grandparents could provide more?
It would be selfish of you if you accepted the money and just betrayed your best friend's wishes. Like I said, yes, they can probably provide a better life, quote unquote, better life for him. But there's always a cost for everything, and of course, you'll never know what the cost would be until you grow up.
I called my sister for advice, and her response was immediate and fierce. That boy is not for sale. She reminded me of all the reasons Eric had chosen me, my values, my patience, the bond Liam and I already shared. She pointed out that Eric had the same opportunity to name his parents as guardians and had deliberately chosen not to. This morning, Liam crawled
Smart. That's exactly what I said at the beginning of the video.
into my bed at dawn, clutching the photo of his dad that he keeps beside his bed. Uncle Mike, he whispered, Dad used to make pancakes on Saturdays. Can we do that today? The simplicity of his request, the trust in his eyes, it grounded me in what really matters. I've decided to meet with my lawyer this afternoon. I want to know if there's a way to keep the grandparents in Liam's life without surrendering guardianship. Perhaps we can reach a compromise, regular visits, shared holidays, their financial support for his education, without putting a price tag on where he lives and who raises him. The truth is, I'm scared. Raising a child wasn't in my life plan, at least not yet and not like this. I worry that I'm not enough, that I'll make mistakes Eric wouldn't have made. The weight of this responsibility is enormous, and the money would certainly make my life
I mean, I think it is every parent's worst. That's every parent's worst thought. I think. I'm not sure though.
easier. But when I look at Liam, I don't see a burden. I see my best friend's greatest legacy, a boy who deserves to be raised by someone who knew and loved his father, someone who will keep Eric's memory alive and honor the values he held dear. I see a child who has already lost too much and doesn't deserve to be uprooted again. I know what Eric would want me to do. I know what my heart tells me is right. But $250,000 is life-changing money, and Robert and Margaret can provide advantages I simply can't. They're also his blood relatives, with legal standing that might
Come on, don't.
eventually overrule my guardianship anyway. Am I wrong to even be considering their offer?
No, it might not. Even if they are legally blood related, if he specifically says in his right mind that obviously he wants you as the guardian, then yeah, obviously you have the most power. Even I think I'm not 100% sure. You would have to actually ask a lawyer, but in my opinion, you should obviously have full authority of what to do. That's why they're trying to fight this, obviously. But if this does go to court, I wouldn't say always, but most likely this would go to them because all the court would look after. I don't say all courts, but in my opinion, I think most courts probably just look at the financial obligation, the financial responsibility. That's all that most courts will look at. They don't look at the whole picture. They just look at if a family could provide for you or not. I wouldn't say, like I said, not all courts, but most courts, that's probably what they look for.
Am I selfish for wanting to keep Liam with me when they could give him so much more materially?
No, you're not selfish. I would say honestly, sounds like you're gonna be a good parent if you do this one.
Or would taking the money be the real selfishness, putting my financial
Yes.
gain above the wishes?
Yes, that would be the real selflessness. You traded your friend's kid for money. That's basically it. That's what you're doing. No sentimental thing. You're trading your friend's kid for money. No, that just doesn't sound right when you say it like that.
Of my departed friend and the emotional well-being of his son? I have until tomorrow to give Robert and Margaret my answer. The cashier's check sits on my table, a temptation and a test. Whatever I decide will change both Liam's life and mine forever. I just hope I have the strength to make the right choice, not the easiest one, but the one that truly honors Eric and protects his son.
We will never know the answer. That's a shame. We will never know the answer. We would never get to know the answer of that. Which sucks, honestly. That is terrible that we don't know the answer to that. Uh, Left off a cliffhanger. Okay. And cliffhanger with no answer. I really hope he keeps his best friend's kid. Otherwise, you are trading your best friend's kid for money. And that sounds terrible. You do not want to do that. Okay. My best friend died and left me as a guardian for his son. But his parents are fighting for custody. And that was Dead Spies Red Story React. Hope you have a nice day, good evening, a nice night, and a good morning. Okay, bye.